Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Who you with Kirk? I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It. Welcome to Speak On It. I'm welcome to Speak On It. Welcome to Speak On It. I'm welcome to Speak On It. Welcome to Speak On It. I'm welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm 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 Who You With Kirk, dog. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, dog. I'm Who You With Kirk, dog. Welcome to the show, everybody listening on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, D Live, Twitter. Did I miss anybody? I don't know. I'm just so excited tonight. My sidekick is in the house tonight, and Miss Risky, she not camera ready yet. she was in the middle of doing something. Hold on, I'll bring her on in a minute. Let her finish doing what she's doing. Just give me a thumb up when you're ready. Boy, the things y'all that happen behind the scene, I don't know what's going on. But welcome everyone to the show. Y'all can live chat with us tonight. We are going to be talking about reparation and why it's needed. So you can actually call in tonight and 972-591-3665, 972-591-3665. Only thing we ask that you are respectful and come with facts. And please do not block your number. Look like my sidekick on Thursday night is ready. Miss Risky, how you doing?
I was ready. I mean, as soon as I saw the thing go away, I would have been like done. I was looking for my chapstick because I felt a little, crusty.
Like,
I'm gonna have to do the LL, and then I couldn't find it. I think it fell out, but that's chapstick for you. Nobody
I didn't
ever.
know what you was doing. I just looked up and I'm like, okay, she's looking for something.
I was in my purse.
Well, hey,
I felt a little chapped.
Do a LL.
So I just do the LL. I'm sure, if Marcellus comes on, he wouldn't mind.
He was on last night. Shout out to Marcellus, who should be coming in the room pretty soon. And so how was your week? I know last week I threw it on you at the last minute. I needed time off, and I appreciate it.
And that's fine, because I needed time for this, because it's a lot.
And it's something that should be discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it fall on the right ears and they make things happen.
Right.
Because it's well overdue. And I know you put a lot of work into it. Other than that, how was your week? Oops, hold on. I put my hand down and did something, hit the keyboard, and it cut the off screen. My bad.
No worries. Well, I mean, everything, I guess it was all right. It just kind of flew by. I don't know what happened.
Trust me, I understand. I told my wife last night, I was like, for some reason, it felt like Monday. She was like, no, it's Wednesday. I said, oh, my bad. I guess when I come in and do a show on a Tuesday and miss Sunday and Monday, my days are all thrown off.
Um,
Yeah, and usually I get my allergy injections like they've been on Wednesday, but I got it today, so it's throwing me all the way off.
uh,
So
had to
I don't
break
know.
that routine. Had to
Yeah,
do something different. So
yeah, and I'm like Rain Man. Like I need a routine.
most definitely. And also, if you are listening on my personal page, I try to remind everyone every night. If you are listening on my personal page, please go over to the Speak on it with Who You With Kurt Dog. And once we start to, uh, you can chat live with us during the show, and I can display your message on the stream for people can say exactly what you're saying. And tonight, um, Miss Risky have done a lot of research, a lot of research. So we actually gonna start it off. Talking about reparation, and I see the hearts coming in. And whatever platform you're on, please take the time, like, share, tell a friend, click the notification whenever we're live. You can be a part of the show. And once again, if you're on my personal Facebook page, please go to Speak on It with Who You With Kurt Dog, and we can actually put your chat up in a message and put it up on the stream when it comes in. So I seen someone just came on there. I guess they said, "Let me do that." And there's, ladies and gentlemen, Marcellus is in the house.
Hey,
Uh,
Marcellus.
welcome to the show, Marcellus. Thank you for always tuning in and supporting the show. So always thankful for that. All right, Miss Risky, let's get to it because
All
I
right.
think this is going
Yeah.
to be a hot topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a hot topic, and we'll go into that after my history lesson slash uh, what else can we call it? Our prospectus.
Get it right, America.
Right. Like, so we're going to start out with the definition of reparations is to make of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. Uh, Second definition is also the action of repairing something. This country's never repaired the damage that is done to its descendant of slaves or just people of color because, the things that are going on now is, the Hispanic or, any race that is not white. So until you clean that up, we can't get on the same page and repair, the race relations that is needed. So this research, it was 18 pages long. I've consolidated. It's still long, but bear with me. I mean, would like some comments to get your feedback on this. So we're just gonna start with the beginning. So pretty much the second half of the last century, countries like Germany, Austria, France, South Africa, and Canada have amended past wrongs by paying reparations to their victims. The US has also supported reparations as a form of restorative justice. After World War II, it supported Jewish victims of the Holocaust in their demands for reparations from Germany and Austria. As recently as 2016, the U.S. Department of State helped Holocaust survivors access the payments owed to them by a French railways company that was an accomplice to the deportations. But when it comes to reparations about slavery, it just remains on the fringes of the U.S. Political discourses. Um, uh, Ever since now retired Michigan Representative John Conyers, well, not now because this was in 2016, um, before he passed on, John Cryers Jr. proposed to create a commission to study how to appropriately compensate the descendants of slaves in 1978. And the idea has been dismissed and pretty much unattainable and too progressive for progressives. And every year this has been brought to the table by, or had been brought to the table by John Conyers Jr. So let's talk about the individuals or the races of people who did get reparations. U.S. Paid Japanese Americans during World War II. The U.S. had its own concentration camps starting in February 1942, by executive order of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. 125,000 people of Japanese descent were interned due to the unfunded, founded suspicion that they would conspire against the U.S. Many of them were American citizens, but were forced to relocate from their West Coast homes to inland camps. The estimated loss for their community was estimated to be several billion dollars, but both in lost productivity, property income losses, and whatever else they that lost. In 1948, Congress issued reparations fund of $38 million, and that was awarded to each survivor, or they awarded each survivor $20,000 in 1990. And there was about 80,000 people who claimed the reparations for a total of $1.6 billion. The Aleut of people of Alaska, um, who were also displaced during World War II, while fighting against the Japanese. The U.S. Occupied the islands of Kiska and Attu in the Alaskan Aleutian chain. It deported 881 Aleuts to camps in Juneau, Alaska, about 2,000 miles from the island. In 1988, about 450 living survivors of the camps were awarded $12,000 each. When the Reparations Act was signed, the U.S. admitted that it kept Aleuts in captivity for much longer than required for their safety and failed to provide sufficient care of them. In 1995, further compensation was given to the communities for the loss and damage to churches during the war. We're going to skip that one and let's go to North Carolina. Eugenics victims in 2013, North Carolina became the first to pay reparations to victims of forced sterilization. Through a $10 million agreement, eugenic programs aim to prevent reproduction of people who were incarcerated or believed to have physical or mental deficiencies, which were, I guess, common in most of the United States from the early 1900s. In 2015, Virginia too started a compensation program for victims of eugenic sterilization. They have also paid out during the Tuskegee experiment, and we all know that story. In the 1930s, 399 black men were infected with the syphilis virus and left untreated. And it went on for 40 years, and they compensated them and was settled for $10 million. Florida survivors of Rosewood Massacre in 1923. They were destroyed by racial massacres. They lynched innocent black men for allegedly raping a white woman. There was always a white woman that's a victim that they caused this massacre in these towns. So we're going to get out of all that and just go into why descendants of slavery or black African slaves is kind of like dismissed because it's a lot of money. Like when you think about it, like it's a lot of money. And yes, it was a long time ago, we're still feeling the effects of it. So slavery reparations would are restitution payments for slavery remitted to the descendants of enslaved people. In theory, American slavery reparations would be paid by entities that participated in slavery, such as federal government, local government, corporation, and universities. Reparations would compensate Black Americans for lost wages and suffering for their ancestors, American slave laborers. Even though the U.S. they acknowledge, that they've received an enormous, well, they haven't acknowledged it, but they did receive an enormous economic boost from slavery, and the biased policies that came after that included segregation, labor discrimination, redlining, mass incarceration, and have disadvantaged Black Americans and pretty much preserved the racial wealth gap. Nearly 160 years, and we're still talking about reparations for descendants of slaves. Since 1980, the subject of reparations has been introduced yearly by Congressman Conyers, to examine the possibility of reparations, not to, actually enforce it and do something about it, just to examine it. So every year, like they do this, they put this on the table. Let's study this and let's figure out what's going on. But we know the damage this caused. All these studies, like we know. And just going back to Army General William Sherman, Special Field Order 15 of 1965, they were going to divide up 400,000 acres of land in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida into 40-acre lots, which we know was where the root of 40 acres and a mule came from. And he was going to divvy that up to the freed slaves. The order was reversed the same year by Andrew Johnson after he succeeded Lincoln as president. Reparations for slaves were deemed by Pennsylvania Senator Thaddeus Stevens and Massachusetts Senator Charles Sumner before the end of the Civil War, or demanded by them. But Sumner, he even proposed a land grant for newly freed slaves to eradicate the large disparity of wealth, status, and power. But of course, it was rejected by Congress in 1866. The U.S. is, like I said, no stranger to paying reparations. In 1988, President Reagan officially apologized for the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, and signed the Civil Liberties Act, which is how they got their reparations. But reparations for Black descendants of slaves, of course, it's different, because this was years of slavery and forced labor, and we're pretty much victims of what do you call it? Victims of war. Like they just took us and kidnapped us. So it's a lot of things that come into play with this. There are about 42 million African Americans, including multiracial African Americans who were descendants of slaves. And even if you say, let's give them, each person $20,000 each, that would cost $740 billion. But, let's look at the economics of estimates of labor. I mean, we were stolen during slavery, so people made money off of returning us to slave our slave owners, or they were taken from them to provide for their property. There's 150 years of Jim Crow we had to go through, and of course the discrimination is still ongoing. And they estimate the damages to range from $6 to $25 trillion. And that's on the low end, because I read someplace where I didn't even know that number existed. It's like quadrillion. So we know we're not going to get that. But 25 trillion is about a quarter of the wealth, of all the wealth in the United States of America. Uh, Karl Marx stated in his writings, The Poverty of Philosophy, he quote, "Without slavery, you have no cotton. Without cotton, there would be no modern industry. It is slavery which has given value to the European colonies. It is the colonies which have created the world trade, and world trade is the necessary condition for large-scale machine industry," end quote. So the profits from slave sales in America were used to buy goods like rum, coffee, sugar, indigo, and later produce cotton. And they were transported across the Atlantic and sold in Europe. In 1860, only 1% of the U.S. population held slaves, which is about 393,000 households out of 31 million Americans. When the founding fathers wrote and ratified the Constitution, they allowed slavery. Um, Hold on. They allowed slavery. They allocated political power to slaveholders by counting the slaves as 3/5 of a person, which gave Southern slaveholders undue power and influence over Congress, the Supreme Court, and the presidency. In addition, for 250 years, this 1% used their inordinate power to and influence to make extraordinary economic profit and control society. Slave catching for those without slave was a lucrative profession in antebellum America. 1/3 of all legislation in the U.S. was concerned with controlling and inhibiting slaves and free people of color. National, state, and local governments spent money and effort to preventing Black Americans from voting. Laws created to incarcerate Blacks and whites for infraction of racist laws and legislation. The legal battles to block access to voting rights and fair housing, preventing integration of schools, transportation, public and private facilities. Americans have built up about $100 trillion worth of wealth, and 25 trillion of that amount of wealth was generated by slavery. And so let's break this down some more, because I said $100 trillion of Americans' wealth came from these things. So 25 was from slavery. Native American slavery, 150 years of stolen land generated about 25 trillion. The remaining 50 trillion, in which 4 trillion was generated by non-white Americans, Asian, and Latinos. The wealthy 1% generated about 10% of the remaining wealth, which is about 5 trillion. An eighth of 41 trillion was generated by every white man, including women and children, supporting Jim Crow and discrimination. So let's see, American wealth is about 35 trillion. Like, if they didn't have all that, that's it. So, as the Biden administration promised to confront structural racism and inequality, a growing number of Democratic lawmakers have given their support to H.R. 40, which is a decades-old bill that was first introduced by Representative John Conyers of Michigan in 1989. It was the Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposals for African Americans Act. And let's see, they set up, it looked like they set up a floor vote on the legislation, but nothing happened. There was no vote, there was no movement. But they did research enough to find that the gap between white and Black Americans has not narrowed in recent decades. White households hold roughly 10 times more wealth than Black ones, similar to the gap in 1968. While Black Americans account for roughly 13% of the Americans' population, they hold about 4% of America's wealth. Proposals for reparation programs have also been raised by reparation advocacy programs or groups in recent decades. The National African American Reparation Commission has a 10-point reparations plan that includes calls for national apology for slavery and subsequent discrimination, repatriation of program that would allow interested people to receive assistance when exercising their right to return to African nations of their choice, affordable housing and education programs, and the preservation of Black monuments and sacred sites, with the proposal benefiting any person of African descent living in the United States. Let's see. There are other things they free college tuitions, loan forgiveness, grants, and down payments for homes or and businesses. Let's see. But of course, like I said, there's still no movement on it. Reaction to the legislation, not only, it just reveals that they still don't see it as a need. Most critics say slavery happened a long time ago and thus the harms are too old to be repaired. And I get that. But the residual effects are still being felt. And you can't dismiss that. You can't unsee that. You can see this every day in the news, online, and whatnot. And others say that the mere idea of reparations frame Black Americans as helpless. Well, no, we're not helpless, but again, the gap, you can't deny that. Like, there's something wrong with our system and it needs to be repaired and it needs to be fixed. So arguments against reparations in recent years, I'm gonna quote, let's see, Mitch McConnell said, "No one currently alive was responsible." And this was in 2019 after a House hearing on the matter. McConnell called slavery America's original sin, but argued that the country has since made racial progress and strides towards rectifying the past, including passing civil rights legislations and electing Barack Obama. But their journalist Tanisha Coates had pointed out when he testified before the House Judiciary Committee in 2019. It says, quote, "Well, into this century, the United States was still paying out pensions to the heirs of Civil War soldiers, despite no one being alive who signed the treaties." End quote. And there hasn't been a stall for reparations, or there was never a stall for Japanese Americans, or restitution for 9/11 victims, or support for Holocaust victims. But for some reason, when you bring up reparations for Black Americans, it's like it's a bad word. It's taboo. But HR 40, which is specifically points out the high incarceration rates of Black Americans, as well as the striking racial wealth gap in the United States median wealth for white families. So let's say the median wealth for white families is $188,200 compared to Black families, $24,100. And that's according to, at the time, the 2019 survey, Consumer Finances of the Federal Reserve. So there is, you can't deny the numbers. at all. Like, something needs to be done to repair what was done. Because we're still feeling the residual effects. We are, victims of crimes. We were taken. Any other situation, the victims would be compensated. Even if I were a victim of a crime, a rape victim, I could be. They pay out victims of crime by the state. So why would this be any different? We were
Exactly.
stolen. We were kidnapped. We were raped. We were abused, and we're still being abused in the media. And because we have no, I guess, wealth, like we're not valued in this country, because every time we try to do something great, like we get bombed, like the Tulsa massacre. It was Black Wall Street. We were up and coming, and something always hindered us, like enforces. So we couldn't be the great power that we can be. So our government needs to right the wrong. That's cut them checks. Like,
Exactly.
cutting checks for all this other stuff, and one solution: give us our casinos and our weed. Like, for real, like the drug that you incarcerated so many brown and black brothers and sisters for just a tiny bit of weed. Guess what? Let us have our weed dispensaries. Tax that. That could go towards our reparations. Casinos and weed. Wouldn't that be ironic? Like, and have little Ray get out of jail, and he was working at a dispensary. He can open up his own.
Exactly. Man, that's some good information you brought tonight. What is your resource on these? Because I've seen a
A
couple of
lot.
places.
So
Sad.
most of my information, let me see.
Want to give credit to the people
Yeah,
that
because the one that I found most valuable. Hold on, let me go to it.
I see it's NBCnews.com.
No, Afropunk.com, 2020,
Okay.
online slave economy, income inequalities, reparation. He pretty much broke down everything. I didn't give you every little detail because it's a lot.
Okay.
I also used Should America Pay Slavery Reparations? That was on Investopedia by Shomari Willis. That was actually updated April 21st, 2021. What is it? CNBC or NBC? I don't remember.
NBC News.
Yeah.
NBCnews.com.
NBCnews.com, QZ.com. There a story by Annalise Mirelli. She was a reporter. So yeah, let's see.
Make It
Make
Black.
sure I got everybody.
Make It Black by the debate over flavor reparation, where things stand to how much it could cost. This came out June 19th, 2021, from Tom Huddleston Jr.
Yeah. So I
So
think those are all my sources. This is a lot. Like, I had to go through a lot of stuff just to make sure I wanted to get to the heart of, like, just going back to history and the breakdown and what is needed to repair this country. Because, listen, like anything, you hit them in the pockets, they gonna act right.
exactly.
Whether it be child support, alimony, whatever, you gonna act right. Like, I feel that even if, like, the bad apples of the police system, you start hitting them in their pockets. Forget defunding the police. If they start to have to pay these fines and pay back their victims, they're gonna start policing themselves.
Well,
Because
see
nobody wants to be hit in the pockets.
now what they do, most cities, what they do is they set a budget aside for police misconduct to pay out lawsuits, which I feel that is crazy. You shouldn't have to do that. You're expecting for them to do it, and it shouldn't be like that if you
Right.
just make it equal across the board. Um, Welcome to the show, Michael, Marcellus, T. Cal. Um, um,
I'm
I
trying to
don't.
find that one because I skipped over it. Let's see, because um, Evanston, Illinois, uh, became the first city, and this is this year, March 20 to 2021. They became the first city in the United States to offer reparations.
That was
And
what city was that?
it was Evanston, Illinois.
Okay.
Um, and it would make like $400,000 available via home ownership, home improvement, grants of 25,000 to each qualifying Black household. The first phase is part of a $10 million reparations the city plans to distribute over 10 years, and is funded by a 3% annual tax on recreational marijuana. And they offered that to, and they put like a timeline on it, or date frame on it. Evanston descendants who lived between 1919 and 1963, who were direct descendants of those who faced housing discrimination. So, like, again, like, they're taking strides. Like, it's slow, and each community is doing their thing. Even Canada, the Jesuit Conference of Canada, um, they started to raise money for descendants of slaves that were sold by the Jesuit owners of Georgetown. Um, so yeah, like, there's a lot more. Like I said, there was like 18 pages of information. So yeah, like, I don't understand why, and I kind of understand why, because, like, think about it, like, before the war, the Civil War, like, Japanese Americans would, like, every time they want to badmouth someone, they tell them they're criminals, they're immigrants, they're heathens, they're this and that, and then they enslave them, or put them in camps, and then but their nation became like this great superpower. Like, everything we own and that we need is made by China, Japan, Taiwan, all these countries. They are benefiting from it. So it's like in their best interest to say, "Oh, bygones, Japanese Americans, we're sorry. Let's get you $20,000, and we're going to keep this business because they're making all our computer chips, they're making our clothes, they're doing all these things." So they have an economic stake in the matter, just Hispanics, like, across the border, like, they make some of our products, and there's an economic state for that. But what do we have? Like, everything we try to build, they tear down. So there's nothing for them to keep us in their good graces, because to them, we're nothing. We don't own anything. We don't contribute anything. You know, so we have nothing to offer right now. So we bridge that gap and start getting money so we can build our own communities back up, and our schools, and making products, because most of the stuff, like, we create it, but we don't get credit for. So it needs to be right. Needs to be set right.
Michael also said North Africa,
Mhm.
a lot of trade ports.
Yes, and I think that's where, like, Japan. I think Japan. They have, like, you know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your type of relationship. Like, it's like a soft takeover. So the Asian community is all in Africa, creating, like, jobs and manufacturing, and they're using the natives, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? Let us have this, and we'll provide your education. You go over to Japan, and we'll teach you everything we know, so you can come back and, you know, get in the workforce and be a valuable member of society, as opposed to, we're just going to take over the land and go back in the village somewhere." Like,
Exactly.
at least they're making it kind of work for them. They're getting them educated, and the community's kind of benefiting from that relationship, as opposed to the Europeans who just took over, and they're still using them as slave labor and taking all the resources and not giving them any of the benefits, or no bonuses, no nothing. Like, they just work the land and go home and hope for the best.
Yep. Now I'm gonna put it out there. Tonight you can call in if you want to discuss it. I just asked a couple of things. Please do not block your number. I will not answer. Secondly, um, be respectful. Be respectful. No BS or anything like that, because this is something serious. And also, I want to add, if there's someone that is listening to the show that have experienced, um, that was living during those Jim Crow laws days, or during the time of slavery, if you're listening to the show, definitely feel free to call in and let's have open discussion, because I would love to hear. I know in the schools they only going to tell you so much, but you have to talk to your elders to really find out what it was like, because a lot of them, that's why I talk about all the time. We need to share this type of information with our kids, for our history would not die with us. And you leave it up to our elected officials, they prefer to wipe it out and don't say anything about it.
Right.
So,
While they're
uh,
taking money from the communities.
so you definitely can call in tonight. Um, or okay, maybe you one of the lucky ones that talked to your ancestors and was able to find out a lot of things they had to go through. I know for myself, when we started our family call, um, from my family being from East Texas, um, it was a lot, but my grandfather, who was born in 1900, so a lot they went through. Kind of find out, my great grandmother, whose name was Savannah, unfortunately, that was also the plantation that she was on. She was born on, and it's a lot of things that came out of that that I had no idea from, up until the latter part of, well, I guess the beginning of this year, when we had started our family calls and we talked about it, and a lot of good information came out. So if you are someone that knows the history of what your family have gone through, feel free to call 972-591-3665, 972-591-3665, and let's have open discussion, and find out your opinion, why you feel like reparations should be done, and is it the right move to make. I personally feel like it should have been done long time ago. It should have been done. And I think if it would have been done, it could actually stop a lot of this madness that we're in today. Because, like Miss Risky say, and I say all the time, hit them in the pocket. Hit them in the
Right.
pocket and make them act
And then
right.
and then we'll end up, creating things, because it's not like we can't create our own products and things like that. We are very resilient. We're very resourceful, and we can make a 5 course meal for $10 to feed a whole family for a week.
Okay. Now, Marcella said, okay, here's my reason why I think they'll never give us ours. Simply because they think we will do to them what they done to us, and they don't understand we're not built like that. And
Exactly.
and let the truth be told, Marcellus, I'm like this. Reason why I talk about voting so much, because all these old white guys that is up in Washington that is preventing these type of laws to pass, it's time to get them out. It's time to get them out, and we need someone that actually, truly, going to be for the people in office. It's a lot of people that need to get out of these positions, not just in Washington, even in other states. Texas, my main state, we
But
need a
also, we
clean the
need
swamp.
to heal. We've never been able to heal. Like you said, you had family members you didn't know that they had gone through the struggle like they had. And we're used to internalizing. We don't have the luxury, and I've brought this up on other shows. We were talking about like people nutting out, and they're like, "Oh, they just need a counselor. That's why they shot up all those people. Let's just put them in a hospital." We don't have that luxury. We're all wild animals, need to be put down. Those are the adjectives that are used when we nut out, because like think of all the stuff we've gone through. This is generational. Like,
Exactly,
we're still feeling the residual effects of the Jim Crow and the slavery, because the Congress and government officials, they keep it going. Like, do you see like them talking about Jewish people
no,
on media the way they do? No, because they run Hollywood. Like after the Holocaust, they were running things like they're bankers. They anything with money. They're doing all this stuff. So you talk bad about that community, guess what? They're going to hurt you in the pockets because they have that power. Money is power, you know? Like, you don't see them like, oh, look, all the, like, there's crime everywhere in every community, but guess who they highlight? The ones who don't have an economy. Like, the one that keeps hampering and keeps, in their place.
exactly, and kind of like what Mike is saying. When Haiti became independent, it wasn't put on the map or recognized. Um, I'm trying to. I have two different chats up because the U.S. was scared that Haiti would become a slave power and want revenge. So it was ignored and blocked from world trade. That's the problem that we have in America, because the thing is, when they feel that someone can overturn them and put them in the same position, kind of
Or
like what
have the
Marcella
threat
said,
of putting them in the same position.
they're afraid of it.
Hmm.
So
And it's like all these years, and like we could have had an uprising. Like it would have been like, what is it, the Chantilly's Islands, where like they just leave them alone because like they don't take in, like they just dropped a bunch of slaves on this island. They're a protected class of people. Like it's near India, and they tell people, don't you dare swim over there, don't boat over there, don't land over there, because they will kill you. And
exactly.
we haven't done that. Like they will take a bow and arrow and a harpoon and kill you.
No, they'll take a blow dart.
Like no, like that. What was that dude that was trying to bring Christianity to them and decided, oh well, let me spread the word. They can't even find his body because nobody wants to go over there. Like they were like, yeah, he was taken down, and they don't know what they did it to the body. They probably buried it. They'll never recover him. And the family was like, well, y'all got to go over there. Oh no, we don't. It's
Oh,
200 years. We left them right there. Like they still speak their original language. They have their original culture, but and nobody's knows. Like we can't get to know them because they're just beast.
and
They will take you out.
see, I know I talk about how the conspiracy theory brainwash people and all of this, but let the truth be told, America have brainwashed a lot of us. If all of us, I'm
In
gonna say
all over the
all of
world.
us, because when they say black people are angry and mad and thugs and killers, that's a lie. You putting everybody in one box just because the color of our skin.
Right. And like I said, like before like during biblical times, which a lot of the races like to quote from. It's like, first of all, not one of them people in that book were white, but you want to quote the word and spread racism, like, and use that as a guide. Like, not one of those people were Caucasian. Like, that didn't even exist. Like they just considered tribes, and we talked about this on past shows. It was all tribes. So pretty much everybody in Texas, we would just be the tribe of Texas, which would encompass all races of people. Like we're our own tribe. It's like that over there in the Bible. And then you go to another tribe. They all look like us. It's a melting pot. But they were a different tribe. The Californians, the Floridians, which is a different tribe. And, I don't want to associate with the Floridians. They're a little kookier. But that's like, it was all races of people. Like, and it was just a human race. And you were just recognized as a tribe. That's it. And it wasn't until slave days that like they brought us over and they're like, "Oh, you're black." And like we weren't black until we got off the boat. We didn't know what that was. Like you go to Africa, half of the people are like, "We're not black, we're Africans." Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like it made no sense until they got the colonizers, influenced their way of thinking. Like you got people in India and Asia thinking white is right. And they do everything to bleach their skin. It's like you're already white. Like leave your skin alone. You're beautiful with your dark hair. Like that's what makes you beautiful. Like all these cultures, and we need to appreciate it. But
and
they won't let us.
and that's why even Mike said this was because the Allen people royalty were visiting a different country, I think Britain, and the Allen royalty died from a natural thing.
From
Mhm.
Haiti.
Yeah. Um, and he also said, it's trying to come up. Say I have a monitor in front of me, then I have my eyes, and it kind of take his time coming up before the Allen people were welcoming to others. Depends on which Allen you're talking about, because the one that Miss Risky was talking about.
No, I think
Yeah.
it's Haiti that he was
Okay.
talking about.
Okay.
Because I know there was a big battle during slave. Is that where Port-au-Prince is in Haiti? Because there was a big
Uh,
battle, and pretty much there was an uprising, the slave, and they pretty much got everyone white out of there. Like there was a huge uprising, and the fact that Black Americans have not done this, and we're just saying acknowledge us, treat us with respect, give us our reparations, and leave us alone. Like we're giving you options. Like we're not going to, bug out. Not too much. Like we're already suffering from PTSD
yes, it's
from
actually
pops.
exactly, and that's why we can't heal, because every time we turn around, we hear about another black man getting murdered or
Mhm.
a black person getting murdered by the cop. And yes, Port-au-Prince is capital of Haiti. You still there? I can't hear you.
No, I was reading the
Oh,
thing.
oh,
But yeah, I mean that's the same theory as slave. In the slave days, if you were light, you got to work in a house, and the dark, the darker you were in the fields. And so you were like a peasant. You were a nobody. You weren't close to the master. You were probably like 100% African, and then he's having all these little coppery little mulatto babies, and they were given more things and benefits, and they were put on that high pedestal. I mean, and we're still feeling the effects of that even today. Like God made all the colors and the races of people for a reason, so we can appreciate it. Like when I grew up, I wanted the 40, what is it, the 48 pack of crayons? Like nobody, like you play, and I play with every color. I don't care if it went together or not. I'm going to
and,
use every color. Now the
and you
white
will
crayon was
mix them.
not really used, and I think that's why they hating on us, because they feel like they would be dismissed and useless. But no, you add to it as well because you soften the colors. You add something to it, and we embrace you. You know, you just appreciate all the races of people and the colors of the world. That's what we were on earth for.
Exactly. Marcella said, God made man and man made kings. God made women and women made queens. We need to realize that all these people in higher position are people too. They made us think they are untouchable.
Hmm.
That's why I say, I think it was Lee Williams that said, well, I want to say it's Lee Williams. One of his songs, I think it's Too Late. Basically, when a rich man died, and it's in the Bible, talk about the rich man. But the thing is, the rich man feel like he's mighty and high, but when it's all said and done, we still gonna meet our judgment day. No matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, we will be judged at that point, and God will judge us accordingly.
And
What have
he's
you
the only
done?
judge and jury. So I don't know why
The
everybody's
cops think
like,
they are.
right, right, they're above the law. And just people in general, like you see this and it's like, no, like with gay rights, people are judging it. It's like, well, it goes against the Bible. Well, you had premarital sex, so get out of my yard. Like, go.
But
like,
see,
like we're all sinners. And the fact that, like, again, your job is to preach the word and keep it moving.
and
That's it.
not only that, they only read part of the Bible
Right.
because the Bible tells us to follow the law of the land. So if it's illegal to marry same sex, guess what? That's the law of the land. You don't have a choice on it. It's the law of the land. So you have to go with the
But
law
who
of the
created the
land.
law of the land?
Man,
But is that a Bible teachings that you can't marry a same sex person? I don't
well, you
remember seeing that.
well, it said that um, it is a sin back in the biblical days. That's what the Bible tell you.
Yeah, but it
Now,
didn't say anything about you couldn't marry him.
yeah, because in some people claim I wasn't there. I don't know,
Right.
but said homosexuality was even in the biblical days,
Listen,
which
it was all up in there. They were having sex with she asses and all the things. And I know that was mentioned a few times. That was one of the laws. They like stop having sex with the she asses. Stop it and wash your hands and stop pooping near the food sources. Like they had all these things that came above all the other stuff, same sex relationships. They just said they detested, you know, same sex relationships, but it wasn't a law against it.
no, it wasn't.
There was
It's
laws,
it,
then you could be
it
stoned for having being adultery, being adulterer,
yeah,
and
but
what was it? The false claims, uh, bearing false witness. Yeah.
exactly.
So it's like all these things superseded this. So at like when it's again, there's only one judge and jury. We're not it. We just here to preach the word. If they don't follow in line, guess what?
It also talk about the one that haven't committed a sin throw the first stone, but and
All of us are born of sin.
all of them dropped their stone and walked off, and the only one that was left was Jesus.
Like for real. Like so it's just ridiculous. Like you can't skew it to benefit your agenda.
Exactly.
That's all the way wrong.
Now, see, Marcella's trying to start up a whole nother show, which he's right. Man should leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, woman for the man. Now, some people don't understand that. Some people don't understand that once you get married, your wife come first or your husband come first. Some people don't want to understand that. Some people have in their mindset, well, my mama gave me birth, so I'm gonna always be there for her. But your house, your
You just
spouse
honor
should
your
always
mother
come
and
first.
father, but like you created a new life. That is your new life.
Exactly.
Didn't say dismiss your parents, but your life, your world now is the family you just created.
And what's crazy? I've had people to come to me and ask me about certain things, wanting me to do certain things, or are asking for something. And my first response is, I need to check with my wife first. Why you always got to check with her? Because we married. We're married. She come before anybody besides God. But um, but I have to check with her first. I'm not just going to go out and say, "Oh, I'm about to go and do this, do that." No, I'm not going to do that. So, um, but you're right, though, Marcellus. I definitely agree with you on the last statement. And Miss Risky, you be bringing folks to think,
I
making it.
try. I mean, I'd be bored at work. Sometimes things just pop in my head.
Hey, I'm always welcome to it. Because when you sent the email, I'm like, okay. Then I seen the page. I said, ooh, she been thinking hard. But this is a discussion that need to happen because maybe the right people will hear it. Maybe it will spark somebody that is watching the show say, you know what? I'm gonna make a change. I'm gonna run for office. I'm gonna go up and try to make a change in my neighborhood and policies because long as we don't get out and vote, people are gonna make the laws the way that they feel it should be.
And that's why they
And
have
it's
lifetime appointments.
exactly, and it's not gonna be for everybody. So we have to do things different. We have to think different. We have to say, you know what? I want to make a change in this world. And it's a lot of people, probably some people listening, been hesitant about running for elected office, and they scared to do it. There's no reason why you're scared. Just do it. Get out there.
Need to make
We're
a change. There's a new generation coming up. We need to do right.
hey, yeah, what Micah said. Uh, make that change.
Mhm.
Start with the man in the mirror. You gotta make it somewhere. But I
But
definitely
some of
like.
them probably can't see their reflection because, oh, my bad. Never mind. That's,
So you trying to start up a whole nother show yourself, talking about folks.
who,
But
me?
exactly. And also why it's on my mind, because I was gonna say it at the beginning of the show and I definitely forgot about it. We I will be doing a special show tomorrow, midday, because tomorrow the sentencing. So
Derek
uh
Chauvin.
exactly. Derek Chauvin is being sentenced tomorrow. So I want to know, how do y'all? What's your thoughts on it? I think they're supposed to start covering it about 1:30 Central Time. So
Let's
I'll
see.
probably come on at least 30 minutes before the sentencing. So I want to know how y'all feel. How do you feel it should happen? Um, so what exactly do you want to see to happen with this trial? Um, Marcella said we got to dare to be different because America, your way ain't working. You exactly right. Uh,
At all. Like, we need a change all the way around.
exactly. T. Cal said that's what I'm talking about. Another show. It, it's a special show. um, so don't be surprised when y'all see me on tomorrow midday. And actually, when I started, I used to come on midday, and I decided to move to nights. And then at one point, I was doing a day show and then come back at night. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot. And I did different shows, so it was kind of rough. But tomorrow we're gonna cover that trial tomorrow and kind of see what's going on. and hopefully he sentenced right. Now, I think on one of the charges, he's facing up to 40 years, and they're already saying they don't feel like he's going to get that.
So it's at
Because
1:30.
Central
Wherever
Time,
Minneapolis is.
um,
Are they? They're an hour
I want to say
behind us,
Minneapolis.
or is it over there? Geography was not my strong suit.
I want to say it's been a while since I've been up there. I want to say they're the same time as us. Let me check and see. Um, uh, no, it's been a while since I've been up there. So right now they are
Oh,
in,
Central.
yeah.
Cent-
So it's 1:30. It's 1:30 Central Time. So I'll probably come on about 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, and have y'all call in, and y'all can tell me what you feel about it. Yeah, how do you feel it should go? Um, uh, Marcel is talking about he's only going to get 10 years for each charge, all of them to run concurrent living in America. If he get that, because his attorney want probation. His attorney want probation. That would be a slap in the face, just like slavery been a slap in the face for over 400 years. It will be terrible if they give him probation. I feel he should at least get 20 to 40 years.
Because I mean, once you start dinging them with these years and these penalties, maybe they'll lighten up on. They'll start thinking twice before abusing their power.
If they give him probation, I might be live for a long time tomorrow. Just say that, because if he get probation, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. I almost cussed too. I was like, no, that's what I heard on the news today, that he's facing up to 40. They feel like he probably get 30, but then
But I
turn
don't think
around.
the judge would allow him to have probation because he was tacking on stuff to give him more severe time.
And don't forget about the other charge where he did the same thing to a younger,
A 16 or 17-year-old
yeah,
kid or something. Yeah.
and those charges are still pending. Are they
So I don't
less?
think he's going to get probation.
I'm telling you, if he get less than 20 years, it's a problem. It's a problem. That's why we say there's a difference between black laws and white laws, which we still need to do another show on that.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of more research.
Yeah, a lot of research. um,
I'll start jotting down some things.
yeah, that's a lot of research, because it is. We've done the show before. If you haven't been tuned in for a long time, please take the time, go to YouTube. You can watch all the past shows, and check out Black Laws versus White Laws. Because I believe what we did last time, we took a black person did the same commitment, a crime that a white person. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, it was
I think it was
one.
with Ethan Couch and then what was the other one? The Rittenhouse. I think we brought up
I don't
small
think
like things with that.
Rittenhouse haven't happened then. I don't think,
Well,
but it
no,
was,
just the treatment.
yeah, but it was one that it was a black guy and a white guy, same crime, same judge, different outcome. I think the guy got away with probation, and the black guy got a harsh crime for the same thing, same judge and everything.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. I pray and hope, and I'm gonna tell y'all to pray too. Because if they don't do what's right in this case, I might be like what was that on Talk to Me when they had the riots in DC and he ended up being on the show all night. It might be a situation like that. So y'all need to pray and
Listen, we
hope they
don't need
do
any
what's right.
more riots and things like that. Because clearly that's not working. None of these things are working. It's just setting us back.
Hey, I feel you, Marcel. I'm just praying and hoping they do what they supposed to do. Hold this man accountable. I don't care about what he said. What he said, his health. Hell, Bill Cosby. I said Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is still in jail.
Yeah,
He
he
blind.
blind and going see now. No.
He blind.
All right.
But they concerned about his health. Just like that. What was her name? The lady I talked about last night. The first one that was sentenced for the terrorist attack on January 6th. Probation.
Mhm.
The title. See, first of all, the title read uh, something about a grandmother. I don't give a damn about her being a grandmother. She was a grandmother when she went to Washington and tweeted or posted talking about the best day of her life attacking Capitol. But let it be the best day
And
of
how
her
much
life.
in damages did they say they did it?
Mil-
Oops. Because,
Millions.
yeah,
And they
like,
only
no, somebody
find
needs to pay that.
her $500.
Had it been us, man. Nah. We'd be making license plate for 3 generations.
We never would have been out of jail.
We don't
Um,
get to sit at home waiting for trial. We just stay in jail.
in jail, no bail. Any other terrorist would have
They're a
been in
flight risk.
jail.
They don't. Little Pookie don't even have a passport. How's
Where
he a
he
flight
gonna
risk? He
go?
going to his cousins.
Where he gonna go? He don't
Right.
own a boat.
Right.
Uh, probably don't know how to drive a boat, but he a
Pookie
flight
can't
risk.
swim. Ray
Hey,
Ray.
you said something on that one. A lot of us can't swim, but TK said they're always concerned about their health. Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
they ain't concerned about our mental health or anything. They just like to keep us crazy and going off the deep end,
Exactly.
snap,
Talking
cracking,
about,
and popping on some people.
she said we would have died that day. Most definitely.
Yeah, they would have
Definitely.
bumped the whole
Definitely.
area. All the Congress people and Senate, they be in the bunker, and they would have dropped a bomb.
Hey, some of them probably would have been peeping out the window looking. Oh, they gone now. Look at them
Mhm.
fry.
Look at them, crispy critters.
They all laying out. Yeah,
They be taking pictures like 1950s. Look,
kind of
look what
like,
we did. Look how
kind of,
burnt he is.
kind of like no cops. Was it Mississippi or Alabama? A brother robbed the bank last month, I think. Now he's laying on the ground in handcuffs, no shirt on, smiling.
Oh, that was it.
And
That was a few months ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
last month sometime, I don't know, but they all these white cops laying around him, and when I seen it, it just pissed me off.
Because it's very reminiscent of like the 1950s, 60s,
Exactly.
where lynching was still a thing. It's still a thing. Like you just don't see it in mainstream so much because it happens so often
They
that
do
it's
it
no
a different
longer
way.
newsworthy.
Unfortunately, they lynched Kaepernick from his career. They blackballed him, made sure he didn't play in the NFL anymore, all because of a protest. That's how they get it. How they mess with his money. That's why we need to hit them in the pocket also.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Because it'll take notice and they'll start acting right and they'll start second guessing like we just need more penalties. Like everything that they do to us, there needs to be consequences for their actions. Right now, there are no consequences. They can just say, "Oh, I felt threatened." But don't you see the news? Black people are wild animals. I thought she had a gun.
That's what they always say.
Right, like that's their excuse, and they get off on it. Oh well, I'm on medication. I wasn't in my right frame of mind.
They
I
say that
felt
all the
fear,
time.
and they get away with it. No, no more. Like, where are our bills? Leave us alone. Stop messing with us. Don't abuse us. Let us live our lives, and we'll let you live yours. Or else we're gonna hit you in the pockets, or you're gonna get some time. And
They
that's what
get
they need. They need to get time for violating our rights and abusing
exactly.
us.
And I did a couple of stories this week where a couple of uh, policemen shot this brother in Georgia, serving a warrant. His name wasn't even on it. He laying on the couch. Someone busts through the door. He jump up. Cops shoot him twice in the chest. Dead. That happened. I think it was in November or something. So,
And what about recently the Florida teen?
oh
He was
yeah,
just going to his girlfriend's house. Cop thought he looked suspicious.
because of the way he was dressed and he was biracial. We talked about it last night too. That's what they think about
He was
us.
just not as light as he should have been in that neighborhood.
We followed him because he
Right.
was
And tased
suspicious.
him multiple times. And the boy hit his head, but the cop neglected to mention that in his, when he was reporting it to the white mother. She had to see it on the security cam.
And did you see the video?
Oh, yeah.
It pissed me off.
And then the fact that the little white girl could get all up on the cop, like, just if that was a black woman, he would have had his gun, his baton, or
Had it-
something.
exactly. So that's what we're talking about, the difference between black laws and white laws. We need
Like,
to
we're
make
always hunted, or somebody always finds a reason or just cause to assault us, and that needs to stop.
exactly. Marcella said we need to be more supportive of black-owned business. Yes, we do. I try to support black-owned business, um, especially if they give an get service. I definitely support them, but some of the black-owned business are some of the worst ones to go in there. And I think no, that was me and a family member talking about because we've talked about it before about supporting black-owned business,
Yeah, it's hit or miss. I
and
mean,
it's hit and miss. And one of my cousins was saying, you know what, you need to do a show about that because the thing is with black-owned business, we have people that seem like they doing right, but they doing wrong. Kind of
well,
like
but think about it. Most of them don't realize they're doing wrong. They just kind of winging it, like customer service or this and that, and because we don't have the resources and the networking to provide those good services like we're supposed to. And a lot of them, they either just don't know or don't know where to find it.
yeah.
And so I'm just going to say it's not that they're bad. I think they just don't know. And we need more resources out there to kind of help each other be successful in our businesses.
Well, the problem is we feel like because you are black and we're coming to support you, you can treat us any type of way. Kind of like
Yeah.
I've
But
talked
we
about.
also expect discounts because
I
so they're
don't.
working with both of those because there's some people on both sides. It's like, you're making it difficult. Like, this is our business. Support us or don't.
I support them. Kind of like a restaurant I haven't been to in years because of a problem I had there. Sap Dallas Cafe. I do not support them anymore. I do
Never
not.
even heard of them.
Yeah, I don't support them for the simple fact. Went there for lunch. Me and my ex assistant sat there and ate. Bought me a buttermilk pie. No, a It was either buttermilk or a sweet potato pie. I bought a pie, and then But as soon as I taste the pie, now I'm sitting there, the pie spoiled. I went up to the cashier. I said, "Ma'am, this pie is spoiled. Can I exchange it?" Uh, I got to call the owner. I said, "Okay." I go sit down. I come back up. I said, "Well, did you talk with the owner?" Well, I sign right here says we don't do exchanges nor refund. I said, "Ma'am, this pie is spoiled." Well, that's our policy. I said, "Okay, this is the last dime you will get from me." I haven't been back since, and I think it been about 6 years, 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah. But it
And
also, like, it's your workers, because it's like you can't, like, you're pulling from a small group of people, and most of them are probably cousins, and they don't have the customer service skills. So
yeah,
it's like it's not the business, it's the people. And
it's the people
again,
you have
it's
working.
slim pickings. So it's like we just need to support our people, and we just need a network, because again, they don't get the training that the white counterparts have or the Asians have. Like, they don't know any better. They just see, well, black folks always trying to get, free stuff or this and that. And they're working off that mentality and give attitude. And it's like, no, customers are always right. You gotta, it's a customer, like, they don't understand customer service a lot of times. So we do need to do better on both sides. And I think once we try to build up our economy again and get our businesses going, we can teach each other how to be successful so we can not be so dependent.
Well, hold on. When you say we could teach each other, because some people don't want to know your opinion. The only thing they want is your money. They want you
But
to
if they
come in
want to
and
keep
support.
getting money,
That's why I don't support South Dallas Cafe. Because the thing is, if I'm telling you this pie is spoiled and you telling me no refund, no exchange,
mhm.
why would I continue to go back there? Now I
I
give.
mean, again, a different person.
Mhm.
Like, if, again, she didn't have the training. She was, who
They
knows who
had a
she was.
they had a sign up.
Yeah. I mean, and we, like, you go to malls, it's like no exchanges, but, you know, if they're trained to say, hey, listen, all right, we'll do this, and like give you a credit, we'll do this. She probably wasn't used to that or didn't know. And again, you can't fault the company or the business for one bad apple.
Yeah, but I'm not. I've
See,
heard
that's
other.
when you go to the owner or pull a Karen and be like, "Hey, I got the worst service. Da da da. I, liked your food, but you really need to work on this." And chances are, if you let the owner know, they will correct the situation. Maybe hire another person or teach, train that person not to have so much attitude, and say if somebody complains about the food and it's actually bad, replace it, let us know, and we got to replace it. So you also got to do your part, Kurt Dog, because the owner doesn't know what they're doing. Sometimes you just got to put them in check and say, hey, let's be a Karen. I got to write a letter.
Well, the thing is, as for me, my wife tell me all the time. She like, you're a very calm person, except for when it come down to customer service.
Yeah.
Because I've served for so long. I expect when I go somewhere, I don't care where I'm going. I won't. I'm spending my money here. I deserve the service that I should get.
Right.
If not, I won't do business with you.
Right.
And
But you also need to let the business owner know so that they
well,
can correct the matter. And
well, the
that's why, I
problem.
mean, we got to support each other and let people know. Like,
And
because that's just a peon. That person probably wasn't even there like a month after the fact. Like, she probably could have quit. We don't know the situation. We don't know
well,
why she was there.
the thing
How
is, with that situation, she'll run in the cash register. And most black folks only gonna have uh, somebody real close to them running that cash.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, the owner probably doesn't even know because no one's complained or said anything and corrected the situation. You didn't give them a chance to
Yeah.
correct the situation.
Well,
Like, if I act a fool at work and nobody reports me, guess what? I'm gonna keep acting a fool.
well, yeah. But that was
My boss don't know.
disappointing because I used to drive way out to South Dallas Cafe. It was two places I used to go to, and I'm not gonna call that a place, but I used to go over there and get the main course, and then I go to South Dallas Cafe and get my sides. And I would drive, shoot, about 25, 30 miles one way to do this. I choose to come there. But then one day sit there and eat, the attitude and the way that you did it. No, I just said, forget it. I just prefer to take my money elsewhere. I'm just that type of person. I'm like, look, I work hard for this money. I'm supporting you. I expect good service, good quality food. If not,
Yeah.
I'm
But
done.
I also send emails and write people. Like that's all I do. I'm online all the time. You know what? Chipotle cheated me out of my guacamole. Let me
Oh,
write, and then I'll get. Oh, we're so sorry. Here's a free coupon for a free burrito bowl. You know what? You didn't have to do that. I just wanted guacamole, but thank you for your service. I will be back. Like you got to let people know.
yeah, that's the only thing. I wanted my pie. I
Yeah.
think it was a
But the pie
buttermilk
was bad. So it's
pie.
like you need to let them know, and let the owner listen, y'all selling bad pies. You need to take it away. And if you got
And if
signs
I'm,
saying you can't switch it out or no refunds, that's a problem.
but
And
see,
then they would have probably contacted you, say, I'm sorry, Kurt Dog. Come back. Here's a free whatever. This is a fresh batch. Like you could have got a whole pie
but
instead
see,
of a
I
slice.
think what really tipped it off because she told me she was gonna call the owner, and her response was 10 minutes later, "Well, I signed says I don't know if she called the owner or
I
not,
don't think she called.
but she said she was gonna call. So,
Yeah.
but
She was just trying to dismiss you.
I don't know. I might come back. Uh, it's been 7 years. I don't like when they
And
be
and I'm sure she's not there. Like I'm sure, like people like that don't last long anyway.
yeah they
But
blowing me up.
again, and she's probably somebody probably eventually reported her. But you can't always fault the establishment for one bad person.
Yeah. Now, also, Marcellus said a couple of things. We have some blacks that do have proper service with their business, but they don't want to teach the other how to use proper service.
Yeah,
And
we've talked about that before.
exactly.
Like just getting help with, hey, I'm doing this. How did you get started? Oh, I prayed about it. If I
the,
hear that
the
one more time,
Lord
and I
gave
know you
me
don't
a
go to church,
vision.
you don't go not one service. I just sat and prayed. You know what? I'm not trying to steal your side hustle. I just want to get on a path. Like I've already done the work. What steps did you take? Oh, it
Exactly.
was a long journey.
And he said, "Sometimes expecting you from others, that's a disservice to you. Um, Go back and try it again. Give me a chance."
Yeah.
I,
And
I might
actually,
I
right,
might
like
go
if you
back.
have a bad service, reach out to the actual owner because I'm sure they're easy to find.
I might go back, and I'm like this. Normally, if
Send them
if
a,
customer
send them a Facebook message if they're on Facebook,
if
like now.
customer service is good, I can overlook mistakes. I can overlook that, as long as customer service is good. Even if you have bad food, I may still come back give you another shot. But I'm not gonna take too much bad food. But um, I know last night I mentioned I was gonna have a question up for everyone. I'm gonna do that story Sunday because I knew with what Miss Risky um, did tonight was gonna pretty much take up the whole show. So Sunday, um, I'm gonna do a whole show on that particular topic come Sunday. So hopefully, y'all tune in Sunday, and it's gonna be interesting because I want to know how y'all feel about it. But Miss Risky, meanwhile, come on, Marcellus, give me a break now. Come on now, give me a break because it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. This story been in the news all week, So we're gonna discuss it Sunday. Tomorrow, I think about 1, I'll be on to do the David Chavez sentencing stage, and hopefully they do what's right. I pray and hope they do. um, but uh,
It's like my shirt keeps bunching up.
um, Marcella's talking about. I thought about it all day. I was waiting for it. No, trust me, it's going to be interesting, and I just I have different opinions on it. Miss Risky and I talked about it earlier, and then once I started doing research, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it tonight. It's going to take too long. That may end up being a 3-hour show. So we'll talk about it Sunday. Um, Miss Risky, where can they find you?
Somewhere in DFW area. No, I'm just
Hey, don't give out no
all
personal
online.
information.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, RSKEE. You can go to check out my works on rskeebooks.com. You can find my books online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I have a question to ask you once we get off to. I didn't even ask you earlier. Uh,
About what? Ask me now. What is it?
no, because you said you're not ready to share that information yet. So we'll talk about it off there.
Well, once there's something to tell, I'll tell it.
No, you said you want to make sure everything is good first. You know, I normally ask about it every week. We'll talk about it. So Marcella's talking about Miss Risky wearing a shirt with my name on it.
No, it's
And
mine. Best auntie ever.
I told Marcellus last night we talked about doing a dating show. Maybe we need to get him on here and do a the dating show to see if he's a fit for you or not.
Like, did anybody ever write in? I don't think anybody even wrote
Nobody.
in to
I had
do
a
it.
friend. I had a friend that said she. Well, I had two that said they wanted to do it, but
We didn't have no candidates.
people say that already. A ready to love. All right, Marcel. Now, Marcellus do work 2 jobs, and he said he'll get a third one for you. Hey, I'm not mad at him at all. But excuse me. You could join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time, covering the Derek Chavez sentencing stage. Um, Hopefully, he gets sentenced properly. The right sentence and not the white sentence. Uh, so hopefully he gets sentenced like according to the law. Um, but you can find me tomorrow at 1 p.m. covering that special show tomorrow. And then we're on Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Time. You can hit me up on social media. All social media, it'd be best to send me a message because I'm not always on it. I try to pull away from it a little bit. So you can send me a message. I will respond. And other than that, um, hopefully y'all join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time. So you have anything else, Miss Risky?
No, no, but I'm getting prepared for my niece going away to college.
Yeah, congratulations.
So
Um, and
I'll be heartbroken in August.
maybe we need to get a shirt saying, "Look, I have a crazy aunt, a crazy uncle, a crazy mama, and a crazy daddy." We will roll out.
Listen, I've already calculated the route.
Exactly. Other than that, I will see y'all tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Time. Love each and every one of you. Until then, peace.